So what's halfway between 0 and 4?
2.
2, okay. Is it fair to put it right about there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Is that afternoon?
It's morning.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Alright, will you forgive me that it's not? Alright, what's half of 2?
1.
Okay, so where's 1?
Between 0 and 2.
Okay, right between 0 and 2 would be a fair spot. Is that fair right there?
Yeah.
Alright, what's halfway between 0 and 1?
Half.
0.5, half? 0.5? Alright, where would that be?
Between 0 and 1.
Okay, okay if I do that? Alright, is there any more numbers in between 0 and 1?
Yeah.
Are there any numbers between 0 and 1/2? Alright. What numbers are between 0 and 1/2? We keep this pattern going. What could I put in there? What's that? A quarter? Okay, where would a quarter be? Okay, right in the middle between 0 and 1/2? Alright, why would that be 1/4? 4 parts, but 4 parts of what?
Of 1. Oh, like
4
0.
parts of 1, but I only have 3 parts here. I only have 1, 2, 3
You need to
parts.
put another one between 1/2 and 1.
Put another one between 1/2 and 1, what would that be?
That'd be 3/4.
Okay. Alright, but why are these halves and these are ones?
Because that's.
Okay, so 1/2 is 2/4, we can say that 1/2 is 2/4. What about the 1? Say it again. 4/4. Alright. Can I get smaller?
Yeah.
Alright, I can do 8s. Where would the 8s reside? Where are they on the number line? Anyone tell me where the 8s are? Alright, what's halfway between, let's keep it simple. What's halfway between 0 and a 4? What's halfway between 0 and 1/4? What's halfway between here? Can we do it? Or is it too small? How many of you think we can do it? How many think you can get halfway between? There's an actual number that exists there. Raise your hand high. Okay? So how do we find that number? Use a calculator. Alright. Anybody want to take a guess? Say it again. Okay. So divide what? Oh, you're just guessing? Alright, let's say it again. So can you divide 1/4 by 2? Let's go backwards. So we started at 0 to 4. How did I get to 2? Divide it in half. What does that look like? How would I write that as a fraction? 4 over 2, right? Is that 4 over 2? What does that over stand for? What operation? Division, right? So I have 4 divided by 2, I got to 2. Alright, now how did I get to the 1 here? When I said what's half 2? So the division there would be 2 divided by 2, right? Alright, then I went from here and I said, how do I get to 1/2? What did I do to the 1? 2. So I went 4 divided by 2 to get 2. Then I did 2 divided by 2 to get the 1. Then I did the 1 divided by 2 to get the 1/2. How did I get the 1/4? 1/2 divided by 2. What's 1/2 divided by 2? Isn't that just halving again? Take another half. When I do that, half of a half is a 4th. Can I do half of a 4th?
Yeah.
What do you think that number is going to be? An 8. Very good.
Half of 8
All
is
right. What's the next number going to be? Can I keep
16.
having?
16.
The 16th. Then what? 32nd. Then what? Then what? Can you keep going? All right. So if I keep having something, not having as in I have you as students, but having something, dividing it by 2, will I ever get to 0?
No.
How long will it take?
21 days.
Just say it loud. 100th? Will I be at 0 at 100th? Thousandths? All right. Will I be at 0 at 1/1000th? Is 1/1000th 0? All right. What about 1/10,000th? Is that 0? Okay. But if I keep having something, if I keep cutting something in half, 100,000. All right. What if I divided 100,000 by 2? I'd be at 1/200,000. Will I ever reach 0?
No.
All right. Can I need a volunteer? Somebody come up. Dustin, come on. All right. So, are we in agreement that I can keep having something until forever and ever and ever?
Yeah.
All right. I'm getting really, really close to 0, but will I ever reach 0?
No.
No. All right. Back up. Back up. All right. Right there. All right. How far are Destiny and I apart?
A lot.
About 20 feet. How would I be able to tell? Squares on the ground, right? So if I count the number of squares, I would say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So if I split the distance, if Destiny and I split the distance, all right, and I move halfway to her, how many squares am I going to have to move if we're 18 squares apart?
9.
9 squares, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm halfway to her. All right? Now I'm going to go halfway more. All right? Do you want to move this time?
Okay.
All right. So if I have, again, how many squares am I going to have to go if we're 9 squares apart now? 4.5. Okay, so can you count 4.5 squares? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. And then a half. Okay? Close enough. Close enough for this. All right? Now what? Can I cut the distance in half again? What would that be? 2 1/4. Very good. Right? So I'll move this down. 1, 2, and a 4th. Just slightly uncomfortable in a moment. All right. 2 1/4 now. We're going to split the distance again. We're going to cut it in half. Can you see what's going to happen?
You're gonna.
What's going to happen if we keep moving closer and closer, but halving the distance?
You're gonna.
Are we ever going to meet?
Yeah.
Eventually, physically we have to touch. Like our toes are going to touch before anything else, right? Right? So if our toes touch, are we touching? But in mathematics, are we touching?
No.
Will we ever touch? So when I shake Destiny's hand, are we actually shaking hands because we just split the distance? We
You
keep
cross
having
the
the
borders.
distance. We don't actually ever shake hands.
No.
It's impossible, mathematically, right? Keep having the distance, having the distance, having the, right? But in the real world, obviously, we're going to shake hands, right? So in mathematics, we go all the way. We can tense, we can keep dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing, and we will never get to that number known as
0.
0. You with me on that? All right. Now let's think about it going the other way. If I keep multiplying by 2, if I keep multiplying by 2 and multiplying by 2 and multiplying by 2 and multiplying by 2 and multiplying by 2, do I get to the end?
Eventually.
What end? There's no end.
There is no end. What do we call that space there that we have? Infinity. Is infinity a spot on the number line?
No.
How do you know? We don't know what that end is. We say infinity because we don't think it ends, right? So it's going to keep heading off and off and off and off, right?
Could we like actually make it into that?
Could we make an end to it as human beings because we created numbers? That's a great question. Could we just say, all right, we're going to stop at a gajillion, right? Assuming that that was a word, right? Let's call it a gajillion. That's the last number, right? What happens when something gets to be bigger than a gajillion? Well,
Was
a mega gajillion? I don't know, right? So we just kept going and going and going until we could find what's called a limit, an outer limit. Okay? When we're dividing, why don't we ever get into the negatives? How come we never get into the negatives when we're dividing by 2? What's that? Because we can't even reach 0. In order to get into the negatives, what do you have to go past? 0. Right? So we can keep having and having and having and having and having, or dividing by 10, dividing by 10, dividing by 10, divide by 100, as many times as we want. We will never ever get to 0. We'll get really close. Right? To the point where in science, right? In science, Mr. Legage, we have really small numbers, right?
Oh, tiny.
To the point where we have so many decimal points that it gets so small that it's almost ridiculous to even think about. Right? Unless you are a scientist, right? You good with that? So this thing right here, this dividing thing, there's a thing called 0 as a limit. All right, you'll get to this later on in mathematics. Infinity is a limit. All right, what does it mean to be a limit? How would you define a limit? All right, you can't go beyond it.
Something you stop at.
Going beyond it means that you actually reach it. Do you want to rephrase that idea of limit? What is a limit? A goal?
Something you can't go beyond.
Okay, something you can't not just go beyond, but can you reach it?
No.
Yeah.
You can't even reach it, right? Right? You can't even reach it. You can get close, really infinitesimally small numbers, but we'll never actually reach 0 when we're dividing by numbers. Never, ever, ever. Doesn't matter what number we're dividing by. If we keep dividing by numbers, we'll never get to 0. We will never reach the limit. Right? That make sense?